Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. I'm just gonna turn this music down a little bit. Yeah, so it's been a little while, but I got this X-Touch, so I figure it's a great time to do another stream. So this X-Touch Universal is replacing my Behringer BCF 2000, which I had accidentally destroyed while doing renovations, and has never worked well since. So I literally just got this less than an hour ago, and we're gonna figure it out with Reaper today. That's the plan anyways. Hopefully everything works, and yeah, it should be fun. Hopefully it's fun. My experience with the BCF and CSI should make this a fairly simple process, but I don't have an updated video on CSI, so this will kind of be like a prototype of that. Or maybe it will be good enough to actually just rip into a proper tutorial. Probably not, but you never know. So, all right, my chat alert is super dim on the screen. I'm gonna see if I can fix that real quick. Let's, how do we do that? Go to studio mode, and then I can do this, and then can't change the opacity. I don't know why it's so dim. Oh well. It's always something. I will just turn it off then. So you're not part of the video, I guess, but it's alright. What's going on in the chat today? I see Jason Gilman Jr., #1 in the chat. That's amazing. I can always count on you to be in the chat, either here or on Venus Theory's chat. Michael Van Gilder. Pat Nickel, Sergey. Who else we got here? Smeeverse Project. I don't think I recognize you, but thank you for being here. Major Upgrade. Good name. How much is the X-Touch? How much is it? I've already forgotten. So this is the X-Touch Universal. There's a couple different versions of the X-Touch, and this one includes the shuttle and the whole like center console sort of section. So this is $700 Canadian, which is whatever, $5.99 or something. Which I think is fair. It seems like a fair price for this. Of course, my wife always texts me as soon as I start streaming. But yeah, this is one of the few days that I have available this summer where the kids aren't here, because my mom's visiting and she can take the kids. So yeah, gonna take advantage of it. Okay, that's like 4 times now. Do not disturb on. So let's get what do you call it? CSI installed. And I had that up in Firefox earlier today, so That's good. All right, and Mac screen cap. Now you can see it. So we've got the CSI extension. Oh, I lost it. Come on. CSI extension from Jeff Waddington. This is the extension for Reaper that you need to actually get custom control surfaces working with Reaper. This will work out of the box fine, but if I want to be able to customize any of these buttons here, then I need to use CSI. And as far as I know, Jeff also has a X-Touch universal, so CSI includes a layout for it. So I'm just going to hit download here. I also need the support files, and I'll download that. And then I should look up the installation, because I haven't done that. Download, get the support files, install CSI support files into Reaper. On Mac, get a warning. Yeah, okay, so I expected this stuff. So going to Finder, going to my downloads, opening up this CSI app, and this Reaper csurf integrator.dlib is the file that I need. So I'm going to copy that, go to my Reaper folder, go to the user plugins folder, and then paste. All right. Now, when I go to Reaper, I need to do it from the applications folder, and then right-click on it and go to. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Can you see this? Yeah. Let's try this again. So I'm going to go to the Reaper app, right-click, and then open. And we'll see it. There it is. So I got this warning. Can't be opened because it's not downloaded through the App Store. It's an extension. macOS doesn't like extensions. So in this case, we'll hit OK. And then we'll go to Security and Privacy. And we'll see this here. Reaper csurf integrator.dlib was blocked because it's not from an identified developer. We'll click, hopefully you can see that. Click on Allow Anyway. And then the next time we open Reaper, it will work. So, quit Reaper without saving, and open it again. We get the same warning, but with different buttons this time, and this time it has an open button because we've already authorized it. It's just a security thing so that people don't install extension without your knowledge. Cool. All right, so it's an extension, but we're not going to find that in the extension menu like we would with SWS or Repack. This will be found inside of Reaper's preferences under the control surface page. And if we hit add control surface mode, we find control surface integrator. You know what? I forgot to install the support files. So you won't find that there. Hang on a sec. Let's do this with Reaper Quit. Back to the downloads folder. I don't know how I forgot that. We're going to go in here. There's a CSI folder. CSI.ini, surfaces, touch OSC layouts, zones. So there is an X-Touch zone, which is trying to remember how this goes. So there's the surfaces folder. Under MIDI, there's the different devices that it supports out of the box. So surfaces being just the device, right? Then we've got the zones, which is all of the layouts, all the things that it can do when you press a button, move a fader. All those things are defined and customized and coded within the zone files. So there is an X-Touch zone file for the buttons, focused effects, different effects plugins. So we'll need to customize a bunch of effects plugins to suit the ones that I use. Home, I believe, is the default, and basically, like once you're in different modes, they automatically switch to different sorts of screens. There isn't very much in terms of documentation for the different layouts, as far as I can tell. But that's getting ahead of myself. We're still on the installation section. We need to take that file and then put that into the CSI supports, the support files. So we're gonna select all, copy, go to my Reaper folder, and then I do have a CSI folder already from previous stuff. I don't really want to lose all my effects zones that I've already spent so long on, so I'm just going to drag that one to the desktop. Not a shortcut. One sec. I'm going to move that to the desktop and then erase everything else. So I'm installing the new CSI 2.0 support files. Now I think we can go back to Reaper, and I won't get that version mismatch. I had config files from previous computer, previous control surface, previous version of CSI. It's been a little while. All right, so Reaper preferences, control OSC web, add control surface integrator. Going to click on add MIDI, MIDI in, Behringer X-Touch, and then MIDI out, Behringer X-Touch, and we'll call this X-Touch. And then got homepage. I'm kind of winging this because I haven't looked at this in so long. Do I need to install anything else, or is this automatic? X-Touch. Okay, Surface, xtouch.mst. Looks like the right one. And X-Touch. Number of channels. This will be 8, I guess. It's technically 9, but we'll see. And channel start position 1, I think. I don't want it to control the master track, but we'll see. This is basically how I had mine set up before. We'll see. And then okay, and then I should see something come up, but I may have the X-Touch in the wrong config. It's not controlling the tracks by default. Pat's talking about CSI, what is that, CSI Miami? So DOS, I'm guessing your name is DOS or DAS. Says, tried mine with CSI, ended up configuring it with MIDI learn and setting the hardware buttons as the X-Touch Mini is fixed on channel 11 anyways. With others, it failed. Okay. Yeah, with the X-Touch Mini, I think it's a small enough device that you probably won't need a full CSI layout. unless you want it to be more context sensitive. Well, I don't want to give up on CSI this early because it was just updated. What was I looking for? Music stopped. So, next album. Okay. I may have missed something because it's a little bit different. X-Touch. Do I need to add more? No. I think what I'm missing is I probably need the X-Touch in a certain mode, and I've only turned it on for the first time today. Can I find X-Touch? No. Okay. Nope, wrong button. The X-Touch guide. I bet this needs to be on Mackie mode. What? What? Oh, there it is. X-Touch supports HUI and MC communication protocols for seamless integration with every compatible music production software. Other modes will be made available with future firmware updates. Procedure for changing modes is shown in the Getting Started section. Okay. Where is it? Why not put all of the English instructions in the same section? Okay. Press and hold down the Channel 1 select button and then turn on the unit's power to enter the X-Touch configuration menu. Rotate encoder 1 to change the emulation mode between HUI, MC, or other future models. And then rotate encoder 2 to select the interface from USB, MIDI, or network. And alright, so I want select, hold down Channel 1, select this button. And then press the button again to save the settings. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. It says mode MC. HUI MC. Control. Alright, so MC seems like the right version. Maybe it needs to be on USB. MCU and USB. Okay, it was on MIDI, so let's check that. Let's see if that works. I guess it's saved, and how do we get this to pop up, though? Let's remove that. Try this again. Okay, I click on Add MIDI and nothing's happening. Okay, what's happening in the MIDI devices? Probably has a different name. Oh, was defaulting to that was weird. To enabled. Okay. Apply that. If I can't get it added, then this will be a short stream. Let me just restart Reaper. Casual gent plays while dude reads manual. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm clicking on add MIDI and it's not working. Okay. So I'm guessing I need to delete my CSI.ini, copy a new one, and put that in there. Okay, progress, internal, okay. It's got that, oh, was it just missing a name before? Maybe. I don't know. X-Touch. Okay, I think I'm following what you're saying in the chat. MCU and USB, I believe I have that. X-Touch needs to be on when you start Reaper, got that. Audio MIDI settings. X-Touch is seen. I think I'm just running into bugs with CSI. If anything. Alright, so Surface X-Touch, Zone Folder X-Touch. It found the folders already. So that's good. Number of channels, I don't know. Let's do 9 because there's 9 on here. And start position of 0. And okay. Hey! It popped up right away. Okay, so we just need to redo everything with the new mode. So if I delete a track, that disappears. And adding one adds it back. These faders are way quieter than the previous. So I'm going to do insert multiple tracks, and I'll set this to 16. All right. I honestly have no idea what the button layout is for this. I have not looked at it closely yet. I opened the box and I set up the stream. So like, as far as features and everything that's built into this, no clue. We're learning this together. Okay, so I've got 16 tracks in Reaper. Sorry about bumping the mic. It's kind of in the way constantly. Oh, I've got them all selected. So this is what happens when they're all selected. They look jittery, kind of with the hardware because they're constantly reading and writing, but they move smoothly in the software. So I have number 4 selected in Reaper, which you can see is based on the contrast. I guess you can't see that, but there is a green light there. Can you see? There's a green select light. So I can tap on different select buttons to select tracks within Reaper. And then based on what's selected, what else can I do? I don't know. I'm probably going to have to read the code of the CSI files to figure out what the buttons and everything does. But it's part of the fun. Okay, I see automation modes. Read, write. These are for different, for the selected tracks. Can I select more than one? No. Is there a shift button? There is a shift button. Okay, so if I want to, shift, okay. Select the first one, hold shift, select the last one. It's not, they're not toggles. Or maybe they are. If you use the control button, then it's a toggle. It's all pretty much making sense. So these four are selected, and I can set them all to trim mode, or read mode, touch mode, latch, looks like latch preview mode actually. No. I mean, I would pretty much only want them in latch preview mode, and that is actually the group button on the controller is latch preview mode in Reaper. So perfect, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so G Webster said, I found CSI wasn't good as Clink for plugins, so still using Clink for now. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll convince you. I've really liked the development of CSI, and if you look on the forum, there's like, I don't know, almost 1,000 pages of documentation or discussion now. Some of it documentation. But there's a good support team there, and the Clink stuff was only on Windows, pretty sure. I'm pretty sure CSI can do everything that Clink can. It's just a matter of like which things are automatically built. Okay, Chris, I'm using CSI. I'm just learning it. Like, I've had this less than an hour, I think. So, learning as we go here. And we'll see. Yeah, CSI 2 came out in June, I think, so it's worth a look. It's very active development. Okay. Try coloring a track. Try coloring a track. I wonder what button that would be, if that's a button. Oh, maybe I should just use the track color function in Reaper. I'm not seeing it follow on the controller. I think that might be possible, but it's not coloring yet. Okay, fader bank does 8 at a time. Channel does 1 at a time. So there's sometimes like when you've got a mix going and you've got stuff in folders and you want to see like just your guitar tracks, but maybe you don't want the bus as the first fader, you can press fader. So if this is the bus and you press fader channel 1, then these are like your left and right guitars, number 1, 2, 3. So yeah, cycling the tracks by 1 at a time or by 8 at a time, which is pretty cool. And it doesn't deselect. It's hard to see, but number 2 is selected. It doesn't deselect when you bank or anything like that. These buttons don't seem to do anything as far as I can tell. Scrubbing. Nothing. Transport play. Play works, but okay, so play, pause, record. What else do we have? But these maybe I should set up another scene. I'm gonna add in the overhead camera. Okay. Yeah, coloring is coming, but I don't know how. I don't think track names are showing up. The row of scribble strips is actually blank right now. All right, I'm going to select track 3 and then turn the pan knob, and I see that is working. That's good. Okay. So, I mean, that's really expected for the panning. Goes in about 2-point increments. Okay, so I will want to make it a click to reset. I press Shift, Option, Control, Alt. No. Okay, so write that down. That's one of the things. What's in the cup? It's an iced coffee. It's a homemade iced coffee, cold brew. Because it only takes a minute to make that instead of the 12 minutes to make a fresh pot. What am I doing here? What does this MIDI tracks button do? I don't know what that does. Inputs. Audio tracks, global view. F1, F2, F3. Save button? Save button brings up the save menu. Okay, how about a marker at, what is that, bar 4? Marker button. Marker does not make a marker. Oh, maybe this is navigation, not drop a marker. Does the drop button? No. Replace? Click? The click button turns on the metronome. I don't know. How about scrub? Does anyone know how to get scrub and stuff? Smart Knob 2 is showing track names. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I could research this a lot more. I just have very limited time, and I want to be interactive with you guys. So if it's frustrating that I don't know anything and you want answers from me, I don't know. I don't know if this is the right stream for you. Yeah, but if I'm streaming, I'm kind of forced to figure it out together. Otherwise, I'll just put it off and, never learn it. But it's important for me to have a control surface that works. I just finished mixing an album without a control surface, like the first one in a long time, and it was all the automation had to do without a control, like just with the mouse. Even though I'm very fast at automation, it's still way worse without a control surface. Okay, so let's peek inside some of these config files. All right, is there a button called track? Yes. Okay, so there's a button called track here, and that's going to be the grouping button. So over here in the main toolbar, that's grouping. The pan surround button, cycle ripple editing mode. Cool. The EQ button is move envelope points with media items. Send is grid lines. Plugin is snap. Instrument is locking. All right, so that's prime real estate for remapping things. I want that totally different for sure. I don't know exactly what I'll put there, but that's 6 buttons that I want control of. And I'm never going to use those for those basic functions. Most of these never even change for me, so I will fix that. And hold plus plugin. What does hold plus plugin mean? If I hold the plugin button? Oh yeah, it does. It doesn't make it hide. Okay. That's interesting. You can program in long presses. Hold plus instrument is show lock settings. Let's see that. What was that button? Hold plus instrument is the lock settings. Okay. Banking track flip is, where is the flip button? Is there a button called flip? I don't see it. I don't see a button named flip. Oh, there it is. It doesn't seem to do anything. Is flip panning? Did I crash it or something? Oh, I locked it. Nope, that's still not it. I don't know what's happening. I may have crashed it already. I don't know what's happening. Well, some things are working. Okay. Back to global view. I got something working. Flip. Okay, flip makes sense now. This is what I expected to happen. I just was in some weird mode. So, flip goes between faders for panning or faders for volume. Cool. Back to this. Global view button will go home, which go home means going back to the home what do we call it? The home function. Because it's not moving the... Huh. Weird. When I press that, it brings up the effects window. That doesn't seem right. Home is, go home means go to the home config file, which includes buttons, tracks, master track, and track sends, receives, effects menu, send, receive, track effects menu. Okay, so pressing global view will close all floating effects windows, all effects chains, and then show the selected effects chain for a track. Okay, so popping up that window is on purpose. But this is something that if I didn't want that, I could comment that out by doing a double /. Michael, how would I know what firmware I'm on? Yeah, I don't know everything. I just screw around and try to figure it out. Try to make it make sense to me. I'll write it down and then try to explain it for other people. So, but there's a lot of trial and error of this sort of thing. Like Reaper is incredibly deep. And then the extensions, like I'm lucky if I can learn 10% of something like CSI. But if that 10% is more than what most other users will ever get, then I'm happy to share what I know. But yeah, it's hard. So don't worry about not being able to get it. All right, reboot the UCS holding the display button. Display button is there. All right. What do you know what differences the firmware would make? And I would assume that I would have the newest firmware if I've downloaded it. For the stream, it may not be useful to check. If someone could just rewind to the beginning of the stream when I turned it on and tell me what firmware I'm on, that would be helpful, but I'm not gonna check it right now. Okay. The name value. Name value. What does that mean? Is there a button? Press name. Okay, name value. We'll cycle between VCA folder modes. What does that mean? Assignment display, track VCA folder mode display. Alright, so if I make this track a folder, or yeah, I'll make this track a folder and this is the last track in the folder, and I make track 5 a VCA by going to the grouping and make it a VCA read, I guess. And if I press the display button, it doesn't change views, but it is doing something. So assignment FL means folder. Okay, so if I take track 6 and drag track 7 into it, that becomes another folder. Okay, this is pretty cool. This, I don't know if you guys can see this, but these two tracks with the different layouts, those are the two tracks that I have on the faders right now in that mode. That is very useful. So assignment TR is all tracks. CA is just VCAs, which is track 5 that I set up in the grouping. FL is folder tracks. That's awesome. That is going to be a huge time saver. Really like that. Did you guys rewind? I'm on 1.21. I don't know. Okay, Mage, I'll check here. So, X-Touch, homepage, assignments, edit. I have it on 9 channels. Not 8, but I do. Yeah, I guess I don't really want the master track. I don't care that much. Oh, colors work. Thank you. So, why did that work? Just having it on 8 seemed to make it work? Or is it just that I needed to do it twice? I don't know how much I'll use the colors, like if I'll appreciate them. From this angle, I actually can't see the text on there. But it does say the track number and then the current value for something for panning. I really want a push to reset the pan. I'm most likely to use that. Okay. Has anyone figured out why MCU faders are misaligned in Reaper? Always bugged me that the faders are at -3 when they read 0. Step of the fader level? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess they don't quite line up. There was something that I had to do in somewhere for Reaper to align with control surface before. I think it was the volume fader range, 0 to +12. Let's try +10. Yeah, try that. So yeah, setting them to, if you have like +24, that's going to put the center of the fader lower. I'm used to 12. I don't remember why 12, but 10 seems to align with the with this controller anyways. Seems to align. And there is a 10 marking on the actual device. So, but if you need more than 10 dB of range, then yeah, or +10. Chris, I just made a sound I haven't made before. Well, did you squeed? Sounds like you may have squeed. Okay, we're all learning something here. This is cool. I'm glad I did this and with the chat, because you're finding things that I wouldn't have found, and vice versa. Okay, so by default, the F keys are not assigned. So F1 through 8 are set to no action. This can be an easy thing to change. We just need to write something like Reaper and then the command ID, or if it's a SWS action, it's one of those, just underscore and then the command ID. So CSI makes that sort of thing pretty easy. I think I do need an action to reset no, it's what is it? Control surfaces? Yeah, control surface, refresh all surfaces. So if you want to make a change to a CSI layout without restarting Reaper, this option, what I have on option F1, should do that for you. On my VCF, I put this as a button directly on there because I was editing layouts so often that it was just easier to have that on hand. Okay, so useful thing. Well, what action should I put on F1? How about show only selected? That's hide selected. Okay, so copy selected command ID, go here. Oh, sorry, just yell if you can't see what I'm typing. Reaper, paste, let's give it a name, just so I can keep myself straight on what this stuff does. I'm not going to put all of the information here, just the name. And I'll save. And then that option F1. That reset my controller to track view. And so I'm going to select track 2, Shift 4, and then press F1. There we go. That's how easy it is to customize CSI. And I love that. So maybe F1 shouldn't be show only. Maybe F1 should be show all tracks, and F2 is show only, and then F3 is show selected. I usually do this with the keyboard. So maybe I'll set this up differently. So show all tracks. Yeah, I'll take this one, show all tracks, and I'll put that on F1. And I'll put the other one on number 2. Okay, I need to get the door. Be right back. And back. It was playing 2 songs at the same time. Sorry about that. But Carlos, you may be trying to paste a link. I'm not seeing it, but I don't see it was blocked. But if you were pasting a link, it didn't come through. Okay, show all tracks. I copied that. and going here. That's going there. And then F3, I want to be show only Shift H. Hide selected track. Is that right? Yeah. Just as an example of what you can do here with 3 actions that make sense together. Oh, that's the name. I need that command. Anyone out there have a CSI template for the X-Touch Compact? What's in here? We got X-Touch, X-Touch 1. X-Touch Compact is... I thought there was one. There might be one on this website. No. So I think the compact will be similar. You could take the one of the X-Touch ones and then modify it. Yeah, starting from scratch it's for sure difficult. I'm kind of surprised that no one has done it yet, or it's just not. I mean, this is pretty out of date. It's from 2020, so if you check the Reaper forum, there might be someone that has one, but if you've already checked, then that's it. All right. So I've got 3 actions there. I'm going to save that. I'm going to press the button Alt F1 to reset my controller. Resetting all control surfaces basically rereads all of the CSI files, loads the new layout, and then I can do things like show only the selected track, show all tracks, or hide only the selected track. So this one, control this one and this one, and then press F3 and those get hidden. And then back to showing all. Cool. Pretty simple, but a lot of simple things. Not a lot of people are trying to use the control surface to replace mouse keyboard of yet, but people want to. Yeah, I would like to. Just my experience with control surfaces and mixing, like, I always thought that I didn't need a control surface, but kind of wanted one. And then when I finally got one, I was like, why didn't I get one of these 10 years ago? And then it broke. And then I went several months without one and kind of hated it. And did an EP mix without one. It's just terrible. So happy to have this now. This is feeling much better. I will say that this is a large kind of commitment for your desk. So it's not for everyone, but it feels very well built. There's a ton of buttons, and with CSI being able to customize absolutely everything is really great. I don't find it that complicated once you get started. Like, once you realize which page you edit in your plain text editor, you kind of, like, they've basically coded in the documentation within these. So Command ID, just having Reaper here in the code means tell Reaper to do this, right? Coming up is a Reaper action. Then there's the Command ID, so it looks that up in the action list, and then it runs the thing. The / is a comment, and close all floating effects windows is a message to yourself of what that function does. Things like cycle track VCA folder modes. I don't know 100% where that function comes from, but that's probably from, isn't there a folder called functions? No, functions is under zones? No. Functions is within the surface. So if I go to the X-Touch and open that in Sublime Text, I think there is probably a section called functions. No? Where is that? Somebody knows. We need Charlie here. Is Charlie here? I already know that this is way better than the BCF 2000. I didn't have the one with the knobs. I had the one with the faders. BCF, not BCR. It feels very good. These knobs are a bit wiggly, more than the other one, but I don't know. I like. It feels good overall. They're smooth instead of like knurled. I think that's the right word. Both of them click. This would allow a lot more, or it gives you a lot more feedback than the other one. So the display on the other one was pretty much useless, but this has bars and beats, or seconds, time code, all these things. Stuff that I never thought that I would want on a controller, actually. But pretty useful stuff. I just wish... I guess any of my complaints I have right now is just stuff that's not set up yet. Not a limitation of the controller. It's just the implementation of it in Reaper. One thing I would miss probably from the BCF is the ability to like drag over the buttons. I guess that works though. They're not sticky. The other one had hard plastic buttons. It was just easy to like glide your finger over. But this is not bad, really. It's a little more awkward, but not that bad. Okay, so the function's got to be in the home.mst, home.zln. No, it's not. Where is it? Cycle track VCA folder modes. Yeah, the word cycle is only inside of the buttons. Okay. So maybe there is a function somewhere? Nope. Okay, so this function just must be part of CSI. This is a function of CSI, not a function of the controller or of Reaper specifically. So moving on, F1 through 8, we've covered that. Go to selected track send is what the MIDI tracks button does. Go to track receive is but the input button does. Audio tracks. Okay, so let's look at sends. So let's start with no tracks, and let's add in 3 tracks, and I want track 2 and 3 to receive from track 1. So I held down Shift and dragged the routing button. So track 1 sends to track 2 and 3. So if I press the MIDI tracks button, the fader or the sends are now showing here. If I open the routing window, should be able to see as I move this, it's adjusting the send levels, which means if I press the right button and the play button, I can start automating those as the song plays very easily. And then I can put back on read mode and play. And even in this mode, they're working. And I can go back to press the MIDI tracks button again, and that will go back to the other thing. I wonder if I can label this with my dyno labels, or if it's going to be too big. Might be cool to do that. All right, so that's sends mode. I've got receives on the input button. So if I'm on track 3 and I press the input button, now I can see the send from track 1. I'll need to be in like a latch preview mode or something. Nope, I need to be the receiving track. Let's set you to latch preview. Track 3. And now I can do that. So obviously you can't change the mode of a track that's not selected through the controller, but a couple buttons and got there. What else? So that's track receiving automation, or show the track receiving levels on the faders. Track effects menu is on the audio tracks button. So these definitely need to be relabeled. You can program the scrub. I've connected through USB. Does it matter how you're connected? I would assume that you need it connected through USB if the USB cable's connected. But I don't know if that matters. That would save me a USB port, but that would also put a MIDI cable around two MIDI cables around my desk that aren't necessary. Connecting to the network might be interesting, but then again, that's a cable run across the room. So USB is probably, for my setup, the most convenient way to do it. But yeah, this, right here in front of me might not be where this ends up being. I might end up having this off to my left, down here beside my Stream Deck, or I don't know, maybe my keyboard and mouse will come up to the desktop and then the controller will be underneath. I don't know yet, but if it's not on the desk, then maybe MIDI cables would be the better way to go, because they can just run under the desk and then up through the thing, and then I don't know. It's like the same thing, no matter which way you do it. Max, how are you programming it? We're programming this through CSI. CSI is a control surface integrator extension for Reaper. The X-Touch is one of the devices that is kind of pre-configured, or like you got a starting point at least. But there's so many buttons on this that either are unassigned or I want to change, and so we're just going through this and figuring out how we want to change things. I'm gonna have to read through the documentation for the widgets because I totally forget how widgets work. And I won't bore you with reading that. So there's enough things to do just with the buttons layout. And then there's all these other layouts here. So buttons is just basically like what happens when you press a button when you're in the home screen. But like we could have it so that when we're in like sends view, all the other buttons are doing something else, technically. Pretty sure you can. And that gets complicated. There is a track effects function, but I don't see one for controlling effects. I don't have any of these effects already, so I don't know. Okay, I want to get through most of this list, or at least until I get bored, and then we'll look at mapping one of the plugins that I use most often. All right, so we were on to the MIDI buttons and the input button. Go to track send is the audio instrument button. All right, track view, send view, track send. I don't know what I'm looking at here. The go-to thing? What does that mean? Or did we do that? No, go to selected and go to track. What's the difference? That's a send. But why is there only one send? Where's the second send? I think this does the first send on each track. I think that's what it does. Yeah. Okay, so the audio instrument button does the first send on each track. Not super useful. So I might have to change that. Go to track receive. So the track 2. Track 2 has 2 sends? No. None of them have more than 2 receives. So track 2 send, track 3 send. I'm a bit confused by this stuff right now. Go to effects menu is the buses button. So effects menu. I don't know what that means. Effects menu. Track effects menu.song. Display name action, go to effects slot, rotary push. Okay, so when I'm in the buses mode and I press this, it should show me the effects. All right, so let's add some effects. Let's add something simple like, I don't know, OTT, something with just a few parameters. Little plate. All right, so little plate has 3 parameters, 5 parameters, I think. So if I press the buses button, what do I get? Anything happening? No. This is your brain on OTT. I might end up abandoning that video idea. Just from like lack of momentum on it. I wanted someone to say that they're like the best at using OTT for sound design, and I got a few people saying that they're okay. So I might abandon that idea. The mute button. Okay, mute button is bypassing the effect. What else can it do? Rotary does nothing. Rotary push goes to a different effects slot. It tells me no map there. Okay, so I'll add in another effect. Let's do Echo Boy Jr. So if I press buses, that's bypass. If I press this button and then bypass, that's done the same thing. I need to rotate. Might only work if there's a map file. Don't know. Global view. Well, I got bypass working, and that's about it. So that's definitely going to need some extra work here. The left, right, up, down buttons. Selected track effects menu bank, -1 and +1. Okay. So up and down. Okay. I don't really like that. But it's kind of working. None of them are like showing the effects. Like I gotta have one that show and hide the effects, right? Rotary push go effects slot. Does that show? I would assume that rotary push is going to show it, but it doesn't seem to. There's certain things that I'm used to from the custom layout for the BCF. They're created by different people, so they have different preferences. And then I had my own version of that. But yeah, that's going to take some time to figure out. I just need to write down exactly how I want things. I'm sure it's all possible. OTT is an interesting plugin. It's definitely not subtle. It gets pretty interesting when you put like 8 of them in a row. Assign the show hide effects to a function button of selected track. Yeah, I think I'll probably do that. I might do Show effects chain for item or track depending on context. Now, I think I want Command 1. I don't remember ever using this. I really don't remember ever using this function. But that works. Okay, that's what I want on there. So right click, Command ID, go to Sublime Text. So Rotary push, I'm going to replace this with Reaper paste and cycle toggle show effects chain. Save, Alt F1 to reload. So if I got track 1 selected, that's where the effects are. I'm going to press the buses button and then press the rotary. There. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. What about the plugin button? I could use the plugin button. Yeah. I think the a lot of this stuff is going to be redone. And I just noticed here that this section is called encoder assign. So these should be used for configuring whether it's showing panning or sends or controlling re-EQ or plugins. So I should make it so that if I have the plugin button, they're also not toggles. I'll have to adjust the lighting for that. But yeah, if I press plugin and then press this button, that's what it should do. For me, that makes the most sense. But I might just be like overthinking it. Ideally, it's like the least amount of steps to like control things, to get physical controls for 16 parameters instantly. I feel like I should probably not use the master track at all, because I never want my master fader to move. But yeah, I gotta write it down. All these things I want to change. What else is there? Okay, arrow keys. All right, as I expected, or as I thought, the arrow keys and the jog and everything aren't doing anything because they're not assigned to anything. So I don't know how scrub and the jog wheel are actually going to work. But let's find the action. Find jog. Transport, scrub, jog, MIDI, CC, relative, absolute only. Let's try that. Command ID. I don't know how to do it clockwise or counterclockwise. Maybe that doesn't matter. Let's try this. Reaper, Command ID, and then copy that. Copy that, paste that. Save, reload. Okay, it's only going the same direction. I don't know how to reverse the direction. I thought I knew how to do that, but I don't. I wonder if that's something in the not the zones, the surfaces. Okay, it's sending different MIDI commands, but I don't know how to make it negative. Does anyone know that? How to reverse the direction of a thing? Can I explain what OTT is? Okay, OTT has nothing to do with what we're doing. With the X-Touch is a controller. It's a MIDI controller, essentially. Each knob and fader and button is sending out a MIDI signal that's interpreted by Reaper in some way via its own built-in layouts, or with the CSI extension to do different things. So we're just customizing this. This is my first like hour or so with it. How long? Hour and a half with it. I turned it on when the stream started. So I know very little about it, but I have moderately strong opinions on how things should work with a control surface. So right now we're just in the kind of in-between stages of figuring out how things are and how I want them. And then if it's a change that I can make in 10 seconds, then I'll do that. But otherwise, I'm just saving that for later. So the VOD of this stream will be available, so you can catch up with the first section where I talk about the installation of the CSI extension on Mac, and that's about it, I think. But yeah, talk about amongst yourselves in the chat. Now, what is OTT? OTT stands for over the top. So it's an extreme compressor, which is a multiband compressor. It's very popular for sound design because it's just such an extreme tool. And yeah, it's a free plugin. It's kind of become a meme because it's like, you know, it's so easy to just make something like sound crazy by just slapping OTT or 5 of them on any sound. And yeah, I don't know. It's worth getting. And just don't expect it to be like subtle. Okay. Is there a reason I picked the X-Touch over a similar controller like the Fader Port? The Fader Port 8 is larger, like longer in the desk, so there just wouldn't be space for it. And I think a little bit more expensive, at least here. So the Fader Port 8 I think would be about $1,000. This was $700, Canadian prices. The other ones I thought of were like the X-Touch Compact. Didn't go with that because there's not a readily available CSI layout for it. And it wouldn't take up that much less space than this one. I think it might be a little shorter and a little bit narrower. Possibly the fader layout is a little different, like the faders aren't as long. Yeah, I didn't want to take up a lot of space on my desk, and this is close to too much space already being taken up by it, but this may not be the final place for it. I kind of just wanted to get an extender, but then I would have no way of doing any of the custom functions that I want to do, because you can't even like bank with those. How do they compare to the icon controllers? I keep seeing complaints about the icon controllers. I was considering a Platform M. I think I know someone that had one and then got rid of it because it just was really unreliable. They were using it with a Sound Devices field recorder on film sets, and it kept crashing on them. So they had to spend some ridiculous amount of money for a special one just for sound device machines. And way overkill, too expensive, but if it's guaranteed to work, then that's what you got to do for film sets. All right, so what's next? Oh yeah, Jog Wheel. I got backwards to work. Actually, no, it's not working. There is also settings in here for jog somewhere. Editing behavior? Nope. Scrub/jog when moving, edit cursor via action or control surface. Max jog rate 2. Limit jog rate when near cursor. Faster responding jog. Scrub mode controller sensitivity. Okay. So I'm doing one click and it's jumping back a lot. Yeah, that's not working how I want it to work. What action is that? Try this one. Command ID. Yeah, that's just glitching. That's not working. I don't know. I didn't really expect the scrub to work. I've heard people complain about that. Does anyone? Jog Rotary Wheel Reaper 40839. Move edit cursor. Huh, yeah, that's probably the better way to do it. Does that have to be a CC? Must be this one. I got 996 for that. Alright, try this with 40839. What? Do you see this? Did it save or not? Did it save? Okay, that's great. How do I move it back the other direction? What is code 40839? 40839. Charles, how would I do the 40839 in the opposite direction? Was there a link? Blocked. Okay, yeah, I see 40839 move edit cursor. But I want to move it... I can't actually see what action that is. Or actually I can. I'll sort the list by command ID. And then find 4008. 100. Move edit cursor forward, one measure, no seek is... Okay. 80840 is what I'm looking for. Uh, 40840. This is so helpful, guys. Thank you so much for giving these actions. Did I do that right? 40839 is forward one measure, no seek. Back one measure, no seek. So, ideally, these can be customized for any amount. All right, reload. And so clockwise, one bar at a time, and then, yeah, backwards. Cool. And okay, what are these buttons supposed to do? Because that's... Why would you want it? Is it playing backwards even? Let's get some audio in here. Let's get a music loop. All right. It doesn't play, or it does, maybe. Okay, what the hell? what is that command? Stop. What is that button even called? Does anyone know what the button below marker is? Marker and nudge? Because it's like playing backwards. Like it's slowly seeking. Can I do find shortcut? No. Can I do edit? Undo history. Move edit cursor to 1. No, it's not telling me what the command is. It doesn't actually play backwards, which is what I would want, but... Okay. Where is that function now? What's that button called? Rewind button? Possibly. Good idea. I've been staring at this page for an hour, so I just kind of like, my eyes are not focusing on the text anymore. Rewind is the function rewind. Good job, John. Okay, how do I define what the function rewind is? Maybe that should be go to marker or go to next or previous. Or is that something that relies on the marker and nudge function to work? I don't know. But for now, I'm going to change the rewind function to markers go to previous marker or project start. Because I use that all the time. For me, that's intuitive. So I'll just copy that text. And then fast forward will be the same thing, the other direction. It would be cool if Reaper would natively play backwards. That's what I want. That's what I was hoping. That's the one feature I was hoping for with the 6.6.6 update was a reverse playback mode. I know Scribble will kind of do it, but like not well. All right. Instantly beginning and end and between markers and regions. Okay. I wonder if this can display the name of a marker somewhere. Probably not. Nah. Okay. What does the marker button do? Marker, go to subzone marker. Okay. Subzone marker is another layout file in the zones folder. And so this, when marker is lit, up should go to delete marker near cursor. Insert marker at current or edit position with down. Jog wheel go to next marker. Okay. Marker down adds a marker. Delete is up. Jog is the previous one. Okay, this is actually kind of smart. Maybe. Okay, so marker off, I'm jogging. Marker on, I'm jumping between markers with the jog wheel. Pretty cool. All right. And then left and right is essentially doing the functions that I just assigned. Okay, so I'll rethink that. Maybe there's another function for that. Maybe just beginning and end is what I want there rather than markers. I don't know. I feel like I use the marker functions enough that it warrants having dedicated buttons. I don't know. Hey Pete, what made me get an X-Touch? The amount of customizable buttons, the much quieter faders compared to what I was used to with the BCF 2000. And I knew that CSI was compatible, and there was a starting point for me with that. So I feel like it's 100% worth it. I should have bought it before my last mixing project because I really could have used it. But at the same time, I didn't have the time to learn it, so. The XR18 with Reaper and an X-Touch, I think that would work very well. I think even without Reaper, the X-Touch would be useful with the XR18. I think you can connect the LAN cable or network cable between the two devices. And that would be a simple way to set that up. Yeah, if I get this set up right, just like with the previous control service, I will share my layouts and tell you how to do every function in there. It seemed to be a very popular topic in the end. So yeah, it's worth doing. Okay, go to previous marker, pressing marker again closes this subzone. Cool. Okay, so I don't think I have a problem with this. I don't know what this middle button is. Up, down, left, right. Oh, the zoom button. The zoom button does nothing by default, and the zoom button does nothing in there. Okay, well the zoom button is definitely going to be a show all. View zoom out project. All right, and reload and press the zoom button, and now it's zoomed my whole project. Has it? Is that right? I guess it is. I would kind of like it to include markers, but put an item there, and I'll put an item at 2 hours and 30 minutes, and if I press this button, that zooms out so that I can see 2 hours and 30 minutes. And you guys can't see that at all. No, still can't see it. Still can't see it. I'm blocking it. Okay, there's an item at 2 hours and 30 minutes. And okay. Yeah, I mean that kind of works, but not perfect. Doesn't Behringer provide a default mapping for Reaper? It probably does, but if it does, there's no way of editing it. Or CSI gives you complete control over everything. How do you reload after editing zone files? Okay, so that action, I've got it on Alt F1, but it's control surfaces, refresh control surfaces. I believe that's a stock action. But it might not be. But I think it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so that's a good thing to add to your layout. Just like maybe some top right corner button that you probably wouldn't accidentally press, but it's super helpful just to like reload all your zone files, especially when you get into customizing the plugins. Like that can be such a pain to set up. I think that's actually where we're gonna go to next on this. So let's get one of my plugins I'll use a lot, let's say Little Plate. And let's see. CSI show parameters when effects inserted. Or is it this one? Yeah, let's do this. We'll run and then add in reverb. I guess it doesn't matter which we use. Echo Boy. If I check in the raw effects, I didn't do it. Did I press it twice? There it is. Okay. So when that action is run and you add an effect, it's going to write in a text file with all of the effects parameters for that plugin in its own file. And this is just blank. It just gets you the parameters. Then you need to take... all right, well, let's put it into its own, the correct folder. So going to copy, go to the X-Touch effects folder, and then I'm going to move it and rename it. Oops. Oh, come on. No, move it. Rename. We'll keep the name the same, but we will change the extension to .zon and use. Now we need to compare another plugin layout. So let's close those for now. So I've got the new Echo Boy Junior layout starting point plus one that's already configured. So things like display upper and display lower, that's the screen on the X-Touch for that. Numbered based on whatever parameter or track or whatever it's showing. And then Rotary is the knob. And then Rotary press is a function for like the click function. What else? Mute is bypass, and there's more functions. There's way more functions. Like every single button and fader and stuff can be customized per zone. And if it's unmapped, then it should fall back to the home page. But a lot of things you will need to assign to no action as well. So let's say, and partly because if there's another zone that does use it, touching a fader, for example, will write that to the previous plugin, something like that. Mike's here. How's it going, Mike? Do you have to create a zone file for every plugin you want to use, or does the controller have some type of default behavior for effects that's focused? Good question. I'm going to make a custom one for every plugin where it makes sense. It's not always going to work, but sometimes it'll need it. I think, so let's say I've got effects parameters 0 through 16. I could make a default layout probably that is like the first 8 parameters are on the faders, and then the next 8 parameters are on the knobs. But often, just ergonomically, none of that makes sense. So like, you want to have your faders as your most used. So things like threshold are nice to have on a fader, but something like ratio is better on a knob. And having like wet-dry controls on a fader is great. Having push button functions for the rotary press is way better than having a knob for that. So like bypass, you don't want bypass on a fader, you want that as a push button. So there's lots of things to consider with it. I feel like some of this stuff is in the previous video. A lot of this stuff, I'm not going to have to completely relearn it, but it has been probably a year since I've touched it. It writes a template, sort of. So using this action, CSI toggle write params to CSI zone raw files, effects files, when effects inserted. That was the text file that I started with. But basically, it's just getting a text file started off with whatever would be listed in this window. When you turn off the UI for a plugin, there's this list of effects parameters, and this order is what you see here. So effects param 0 is bypass, and this is the plugin bypass, not Reaper's effects chain slot bypass. Yeah, or actually no. This bypass, this bypass is this bypass button, but this bypass here, number 16, is Reaper's bypass. So you got to choose which one you want to use. You don't need both. With Clink, I follow a few rules of thumb. Anything with discrete steps on knobs, and it's labeled, typed in all caps. Anything with float values on faders, liberal use of pages, subpages. Hoping you can replicate that with CSI. I believe so. If you look at my previous video on CSI, the CSI FAQ video, I'm pretty sure I go fairly in depth with customizing plugins, or it may be an old stream that I did where this was like top of mind and I could like lay out a plugin in 5 minutes. Using the plugins bypass would theoretically eliminate glitches when toggling. Yeah, but sometimes they program it so that it's not an on-off. Like this shouldn't be like a continuous controller. This should just be a toggle on-off. It's been a really long time, but I have seen plugins. Let me think. The very first version of Isotope Vinyl had a weird bug, like an audible distortion, if you had the bypass between 0 and 1. And yeah, I used it in a song and they fixed the bug, and I could never get the sound again. But it is something that can come up. I'm pretty sure that the Soundtoys plugins, the bypass is not on-off. It's actually continuous, but it just like kicks on. So we need to assign these things to a function. So let's say rotary rotary push 1 is effects param 0 bypass, and then you need to set the values, like how much. If it's on or off. And that should just be like in the brackets here. So I believe that's a square bracket 0, 1. Maybe? It's been a very long time since I've looked at that. And you might need... this is very important if you want to have, like, press it 3 times and it goes between 3 different values, or press it 10 times and it goes, like, in tenths. Or if the scale of the plugin parameter is weird, like a logarithmic scale or something like that, and you just want to press a button to jump between like 0, 15, 33, 66, 75, 99, all these different steps, you can do that with the presses. The fader could be assigned to that as well, but there's going to be some in between, or if you move it quickly, it might jump between those values rather than automating smoothly. So just something to keep in mind. All right, super basic. Let's just see if this is correct. Rotary push 1. Is that? That's not what I really wanted on, but let's just see if I remember how to do this. F1. Okay. Now, how do I get into the plugin view? How do I get into effects mode? So I gotta find that in the other thing. It's not the effects button. It's home. Nope, not home. It's buttons. Should be go subzone something. Go track effects menu. Okay, it might be the buses button. And that hit it. Oh, okay, it is working. But for some reason it had to show and hide it once first. Okay, so that's pan, volume, press it again. The knob is doing nothing because I haven't assigned it, but the click. Nope. I don't know. Maybe only when it's floating? Yeah, only when it's floating. It's kind of working. But I will get that figured out. It's sort of... It's progress. Okay, I don't really want push 1 to be bypass. So I'll just clear that for now, and that. So input and output gain, they're on the right side of the plugin. I might have those on fader 7 and 8. How is it actually? What's the format? No space. Fader 7 for input gain. Fader 8. Okay, and then each time you have to reload and press buses. Okay, and I got feedback for the current position here. So if I move it with the mouse, you can see the fader moves on its own, but I can also quickly adjust these. So interestingly, the scaling is a little weird. Or is it? No, okay. It's weird because of the markings. I'm used to 0 being here, but it is like 50%. It's in percents, right? So that's working well. Sometimes it is that simple to do. The other thing is we can customize all of the displays to show values. So let's go back to here, and how will we do that? Display upper 1. Yeah, let's do that. Let's copy both of these. Modify. Display upper 1 will be input gain. No, display 7. And display 7 lower will be the value for the display value parameter 1. Okay. Okay, and then 8. We'll call this out gain and display param 2. Save, reload, bus button, nope, there. No, it didn't work. Probably something to do with the effects thing, because it should be showing me tracks. Oh, it does. Okay, can you see that? If I had enough tracks, then the labels displayed. So I'm pretty sure that I need to set the effects layout so that like these are set to like no action, things like that. Because like these faders might still affect things that aren't on screen. Okay. Is it all making sense? This is interesting still? Am I even still live? No one's asked any questions in a while. Oh, Beans is here. Okay, so style is probably let's see. Let's put fader 1. Fader 1 will be mix. And fader 2. Things definitely take longer if you have to like set up all of the displays and things. What's the difference between mode and display? Okay, so mode is just the stereo mode. So mode will be rotary push 1 and set this up so it's 0, 0.51. I think that's right. And then style is a 7 position slider, so we'll just put that on fader 2. No, fader 1, 2, 3, 4. You can change the order if you prefer to have the faders and knob in order rather than the parameter in order. It doesn't really matter that. Marathon. 2 hours and 20 minutes, yeah. Can you control the color of the scribble strips? Yes, I haven't looked into that. By default, it's going with the track color. Okay, so glide will be rotary push 2. And that will be a step from 0 to 1. And in buttons, didn't I set something to rotary push 1, didn't I? I'm trying to remember why that thing was coming up. Did I? Maybe not. Okay. Echo time will be... Oh yeah, okay, so this is something I ran into with Echo Boy Jr. before. There's technically different knobs when you have the echo time and the time and the note buttons. They're technically separate knobs. So what you can do is just assign them both to the same parameter. So this will be fader 2 for both of these. And then fader 3 will be feedback. And that's enough for now. All right, so reload. And it is cool that if the plugin is, like if a layout is found, it automatically shows on the faders. So I can turn this and turn up the echo time. I can press this button to go through the 3 normal, wide, and ping pong buttons. Okay, so I messed something up. Oh, I missed the space. But it's as simple as that. Reload. So I press this button. Yeah, there it is. So if I press the glide, knob 2 does glide on off. I always want it on, but yeah, so echo time, mix, and feedback, all in faders, and they automatically come into view if there's a layout for that. So what happens if I do an Echo Boy Jr. on a different track? So whichever one is in focus. Yeah, so I believe this is an update for CSI that wasn't there before, because I used to have to like go back to global view or like the home page to make that work. Very cool stuff. X-Touch only has 8 fixed colors it can display, so not RGB. I think you have to be reasonably close for it to show. I don't know if there's a toggle. They were working earlier in the stream. Yeah, so the default color is there now. So I'll hit random. So there's a green. Same green. Purple, green, purple. Orange is red. Blue is blue. Red is red. Purple's blue. Yeah, it's only a few different colors. There is a magenta, or pink, red, blue. It is better than nothing. I do need more contrast, I think, on the actual display. You guys can see it better in the camera than I can in real life. So, that's cool. It's definitely more colors than I had on the previous controller, sure. But all I needed was red before. Okay, so the layout thing is fairly involved. I'm gonna open up my the folder of zones that I created before. So I made all of these from my BCF, and none of these are useful for me now, but they're not too dissimilar. They're going to have very similar names for the buttons, not buttons, but fader 1 through 8, that's going to be the same. Rotary 1 through 8, that's the same. Rotary push. So possibly I can just drop these in and it'll work. Yeah, we'll see. What do I want to try with this? Let's try RC20. Okay. Effects. Paste. Okay, and then when you do that, you got to reload. And let's put in RC20. Okay, so what is assigned to what? None of the displays will be there, which is fine. Oh, wait. Do I need to be in the buses mode? No, that's faders. It may not work. Oh, because it's a VST3. Okay, so I'll just go back to other Finder window. And so this is going to be VST3.zone, and then open it up in here, and rename this to VST3. Okay, buses mode. No, it's not picking it up automatically. But let's see if the in the CSI folder, the raw effect zones, the name is a bit different. Copy the name, at least. Oh, there's also the select a track navigator thing. That's not gonna work. That was removed. Save, close, and the name's different, right? do need to get the name exactly right for it to work. Alright, so let's try this again. Reload. Bring this plugin into focus. Buses button. Nope. Oh, yes. It's fighting me a bit on this, unfortunately, but it is kind of working. And considering it was made for a different device, that's not bad. Cool. So that's partially working. Why is fader why is fader 6 fighting me? I don't know. Not sure. Weird. Okay, so it's probably one of those things where it's still reading the position of the track fader, and it can't go below 0. But most of the stuff worked. So it's just a matter of making sure that's VST 3, not VST. And yeah. So all that work I did in my previous stuff may not be totally wasted. Alright, so there's still a bunch that I'll need to redo. I'm trying to think of what I actually have on this computer. All the Valhalla stuff. Let's bring all that over. Okay, that's the original. So I've got VST 3s for everything, except for Supermassive and Vintage Verb. Okay, so Vintage Verb, I might just have to do this one thing, turn off Select the Track Manager, Navigator, I mean. And is that right? Yeah. Okay, so Vintage Verb, VST 3, oh, that's track 1. Oh, yeah. Reload. Bus. So I've got diffusion, decay, pre-delay, mode, damping, high shelf, base frequency, base multiplier, mode. I don't know why that button is showing and hiding the plugin window. Did I assign that? I don't think I did. But anyways, this is nearly everything already assigned. I just want to know why the button is closing windows. It's not what I want. So that's got to be in selected track effects menu. Rotary push, go to effects slot. Comment that out and see if that works. Or actually, I just set it to no action. Okay. Okay. So it's no longer doing things for me that I didn't want to happen. Which means that any of these buttons are now available. So vintage verb, or I can bring up retro color, and if there's a layout, it's going to be there. And that's opening and closing those, or bypassing the different functions. What was that one? Magnitude. Cool. So let's do I guess we'll do supermassive next. Just do this. And so I've got rotary 1 on mix, rotary push, mix 100%, push 2 for delay sync between, what is that? 25 half. This must be, I don't know. Well, it's a 4 position toggle. Anyways. Fader set to delay note, fader 2 set to delay milliseconds, fader 3 delay warp, fader 4 feedback, fader 5 density, rotary 2 is width, rotary 8 is low cut, rotary 7 is high cut, rotary 5 is mod rate, rotary 6 is mod depth, fader 1 is mode. Okay. So let's turn off this function. Close that. And supermassive. Wait, did I save that? Let's reload. Okay, so with supermassive, fader 1 is mode, knob is mix, tap it to go to 100%, delay time, warp, feedback, density, something's weird with density. Okay, so sometimes, oh, you guys can't see that. Sometimes, even though the plugin has focus, the fader will still control other stuff. So that's when you have to go through this list and figure out which ones are being used and which ones aren't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fader 6, 7, and 8 are unused. So you type in fader 6. No action. Fader 7. No action. Fader 8. No action. Because we don't want these controlling the tracks. Okay, so other rotaries. We've got 1, 2, 2 rotary Rotary 3 is nothing. Rotary 4, no action. And rotary 5's used, 6 is used, 7's used, 8's used. Okay, save, load. Okay, so mode, free delay, fade, decay, diffusion, shape, EQ, low cut, and then knob for high frequency. I thought that was mix. Wasn't number 1 mix? Rotary 1 is mix. But rotary 1 is not working now. That's weird. Oh, because I was on the wrong plugin. Supermassive, not the other one. Okay, and then these are not controlling tracks anymore, right? Yep. But that's gonna control master. Cool. I'm extremely hot and sweaty. Haven't had the AC on for, I don't know, 2 hours and 40 minutes, exactly. So I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you guys so much for doing a stream with me. It's been a lot of fun, and hope you had a good time as well. I'm going to keep chipping away at this, modifying my what do you call it, zones for the different plugins that I use, and then yeah, a big video about all this stuff, and I will share what I've done and all this stuff. Yeah, so hopefully you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, I don't have a thank you screen anymore, or do I? No, I don't. I used to have a thank you screen. I don't, but thank you for being viewers, joining the stream, watching videos in general, being patrons and YouTube members. Have a great night. I'll see you guys later, and that's it. See ya.